Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 12th and final round.
Right hand, Golovkin steps in and down he goes again. Unbelievable. Mayweather makes him pay. What a rookie mistake. A sensational left hook by De La Hoya.
It's fact. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
From Southern California, this is the Last Round Podcast.
TLR 21. I'm getting used to it. TLR, I think I'm going to start calling it TLR 21. See if it sticks. If you guys don't like it out there, the listeners, maybe we should just keep calling it The Last Round. I'm just saying TLR because it's quicker.
Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. But if people don't like it, for the fans, the listeners, the supporters, then I'll just switch back to The Last Round. And we're at episode 21. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here because of the pick that I made last week, which we'll touch on later in the show. But I shouldn't be here because
should be running off into the sunset with your winnings.
Running into the sunset with my winnings, our imaginary winnings. But we'll touch on that as we get through the show. But going on, man, it was literally all weekend. Like, I know we've been saying that numerous times over the last several months. We had fights on Saturday, 2 cards on Saturday. We had one yesterday, ESPN, DAZN, Showtime.
Local fights on Friday, Thompson's Boxing.
Local fights on Friday, Thompson's Boxing out here in Ontario, California, out here in Southern California. We're all over the place, you know? People saying boxing's dead. Man, that thing, if it was dead, which it never wasn't, it just rose from the dead like The Undertaker. So it's back. It's back. Like Tyson Fury did against Deontay Wilder. But starting with the Showtime card, where Abner Mares unfortunately had to pull out because of a retina injury. Gervonta Davis, by expected standards, stops, aggressively, I guess. I'm sure there's a better word to use. Stops Hugo Ruiz, breaks his nose. The guy couldn't even breathe. He stopped him in the first round. And just before that, he comes out to Michael Jackson's Thriller. I mean, what's going on there?
Do you think they told Davis, like, hey, just so you know,
make it a thriller?
You're going out to Thriller.
I don't think that was his decision, by the way.
No, the way that he walked down, kind of like...
He looked embarrassed.
He looked embarrassed. He looked like he knew what was going on. I'm not really sure why they did Thriller in February. You mean that?
Yeah, you think Halloween,
yeah,
October, November maybe. I mean, I get it, but you also got to look at it is that didn't they have to pay the licensing rights for that song?
I would guess so, yeah.
That's pretty expensive. Expensive. And then he had the dancers in the back. Obviously, they know he can fight. The kid can fight. Even against Mares, he would have beat Mares. He's just too big of a kid. He punches hard. He's got good technique. And obviously, he showed that. Just like we mentioned last week or even a couple weeks ago, especially last week when Mares had to pull out of the fight, we mentioned that Davis is just too strong. He's just way too strong. And then with Ruiz being in as a substitution, what did we say? And we even talked about this over the weekend before the fight even went on, saying that, okay, Davis obviously can't go to a decision with this guy. He has to stop him, and he has to stop him in abrupt fashion. Because if he goes to a decision, people are going to be like, oh, if a guy like Ruiz, who came up a couple weight divisions, took Davis to a decision, what does that say about Davis? Is he really the real deal? He did exactly what he needed to do. He stopped him in the first round, and it was ridiculous. He broke his nose. Everything he needed to do lined up for him. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly like you touched on. He did the perfect thing, just went in there, just got him out there as quick as he could, because if it went to decision, then we would have said, Davis isn't what we thought he was. He's not making weight. He's not taking the fights properly. Even if he finished him in the late rounds, people probably would have said, oh, I should have got rid of him earlier.
Yeah.
The guys stepped up to 126 in January, then stepped up again to 130.
Yeah, he was at 122, I think, and then he went up to 126.
At the end of last year, yeah.
And now when he stepped up to 130, so I don't know. That was a tough jump for him.
It was a lose-lose situation unless Gervonta Davis did what he did. He had to go in there and just get him out of there as quick as he can.
Right. Right.
So,
it was nasty too. Like,
it was a good stoppage by Jack Reese, probably one of the best referees I'd have said in boxing.
yeah. No, it was a great stoppage. I mean, the guy was bleeding. First round, he was bleeding. You can see him breathing out of his mouth.
Yeah,
like
his nose was destroyed.
He was just struggling to breathe, and like he was just like, forget it.
Yeah, he would have just got more punishment, if he'd have made it to the end of the round because there wasn't much time left. So it was a great stoppage by Jack Reese.
Yeah. I mean, Davis did what he had to do in retaining his WBA super. Take that note. Super WBA super featherweight title. He improves to 21-0 with 20 KOs. So all but one of his victories have been knockouts or stoppages.
Do you want to touch on Floyd Mayweather turning up as a jockey?
I'm getting there. That I think that's a point of interest for some people because I saw people talking about it online on Twitter and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know. I know it was cold out here in LA and there was a chance it was raining, I think, in the morning. And so he showed up like in rain boots and they were red, like burgundy rain boots. And I don't know, maybe, he's a smart guy, obviously. He's got a ton of money. Maybe he thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to wear some rain boots. They're going to be stylish. Just in case there's rain, I still look good. I mean, what else? What else is there? I mean, but he did, like you mentioned, he did look like a jockey. Like, where was his horse?
It was definitely a strange outfit for someone like Floyd to wear, but it probably cost more than my house. So.
Yeah, so, can we really complain? I guess not. But Gervonta Davis, as I mentioned, retains his WBA super world super featherweight. Damn, that's hard to say. 21-0, 20 KOs. And then, obviously they ask him about, I don't know, did they ask him in the post-fight about like Lomachenko and those guys?
They asked him and Floyd when Floyd was there in the back.
Yeah, they asked him in the media scrum in the back, but I don't think they asked him anything about. I don't
think so in the ring. I think it was more when Floyd was there, so Floyd could protect him.
Yeah, that makes sense. So,
but I do not think Floyd turned around and said, Lomachenko's too old. He's an aging fighter. Then why not fight him?
Well, I mean, he if you kind of read between the lines, he was kind of saying like, hey, we're gonna kind of wait him out as he gets older, then we'll fight him. I mean, kind of read between the lines. I mean, with any fighter and any promoter, like a decent promoter, obviously, who knows the game, they're all guilty of it. I mean, if we were promoters, you have to protect your business at the end of the day. So they're gonna carefully select opponents.
Floyd made a career doing it.
Yeah. I mean, he fought some guys. Obviously he fought more than some guys. Like, he's obviously, it's not just because like, he got to a point where he was just so powerful as the A side, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. But, that's not to take anything away from his talent and, the numbers he drew. Like, he's still an excellent boxer regardless. But so, if anybody knows the game, it's him. And he's obviously going to do that with Davis, and Davis is his main star under his promotional banner. So, congratulations to Gervonta Davis. Is it Gervonta or Gervonta?
I say Gervonta.
I don't know, because I've heard it twice, both different times. I forgot how he says it. I think he says Gervonta. I don't know. We got to get it right because I don't want to be saying it wrong all the time. And then moving on that card, Erickson Lubin retires Ishe Smith. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was a good end to his career for Ishe Smith. Obviously not going out on his terms, but he kind of said that he could see he was aging. He has not got the fight in him anymore, so it's good to go out before he gets seriously injured. He doesn't have to stay around for the paydays.
Yeah.
He's kind of had the last few years and actually had a couple of results, maybe against when he fought J-Rock, when he fought Julian Williams. I was ringside for that. I thought that was a close fight. Could have gone either way. He's had a few decisions, maybe not gone his way. But he's had a steady career. Not the most pleasing on the eye, his style.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he did it. He had some pretty decent fights, and then the tweet he sent out following his fight, which was actually pretty quick. It's like he knew he was gonna, if he lost, he planned it. You know what I mean? Like, I think he already knew. Within an hour or so of his fight ending, I think it seemed like it was pretty quick.
It was quick, yeah.
He tweets out a message to everybody, to the fans and everything, saying he's gonna retire, and very heartfelt. So, thanks to Ishe Smith for all those fights that he gave us. It was a long career, 19 years. Yeah. So all those fights that he gave us, all those entertaining fights, putting on for the fans and for himself. So hopefully he made some pretty decent money, and he can take care of himself and his family. So congratulations on a great career to Smith. You know, to some people, it might not be a great career, but 19 years, it's a long time to survive in a professional sport, especially boxing. So I'm pretty sure, especially fighting under Mayweather Promotions, I'm pretty sure he got some pretty good paydays. You know, they know how to navigate the system.
Yeah, he picked up some kind of world title, didn't he? He was the first world title holder from Las Vegas.
Was it?
I remember him winning. He won some trinket. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but he won a world title, and he was the first person from Vegas to win one.
That's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, that is.
He's in the record books now.
Yeah,
he's in the record books. And then also on that card, Mario Barrios, or in Spanish, Mario Barrios, improves to 23-0 with 15 KOs as he stops in the fourth round Richard Zamora, who gets his third loss of his career. What'd you think of Barrios' performance?
I thought Barrios was a good performance. He's definitely big for that weight division. I actually had people from work who were impressed by his performance. They were texting me saying like, "Hey, who's this Barrios kid?"
Yeah,
you know,
so he's getting noticed.
Exactly,
he's getting noticed. Casuals.
He's trained by Virgil Hunter and spent some time sparring Amir Khan, preparing for this fight. Good fighter, definitely big, powerful, definitely good to watch for the casual fans. He's all action, real warrior.
He's kind of like Gervonta Davis. Like Gervonta Davis is always like, putting on a pretty good show. Like he goes in there like he knows like I got to knock these guys out. So pleasing style.
Exactly. He's one. If you just want to sit down and watch a good fight, you're not really into the complex, art form. You're more of just a casual fan. Definitely, Mario Barrios is someone to watch.
Yeah,
I think you can see him going on to some bigger and better things. I'm sure that performance they'll want to get him out there more.
Mm-hmm. So. Congratulations to Barrios for improving to 23-0 with 15 KOs. And then also the same night, just about 130 miles away, over 100 miles away from where the Showtime card was in LA, in the desert. Isn't that a song? In the desert.
Sing it to us, Danny.
The latest telecast on DAZN from the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. We were there. The last round was there representing. Mike and I were there covering the event. The Golden Boy card on DAZN. Man, you talk about upset of the year. I honestly don't know. Like we talked about it immediately after that main event. I don't know how you could top that. And we still have 10 months, essentially 10, 11 months to go in the year.
What do you think's bigger so far? Cano beating Linares?
I think this one is bigger than Cano beating Linares.
I would agree.
And we're getting ahead of ourselves. Alberto Machado went in obviously as the world champion with his WBA super featherweight title, regular, right? Mm-hmm. This is the regular title, which he honestly should be the super, but regardless, the whole super regular is ridiculous. It's alphabet titles, but he was a 40-1 favorite or something like that, or I think I saw 40. It was a lot. Machado was, you chose Machado last week.
I did.
Going up against Andrew El Chango Cancio from Blythe, California. And for people who don't know, for our listeners all around the world, UK, Canada, Mexico, even in the East Coast here or in areas not in Southern California, Blythe is an extremely small town. You call it a town, right? Like, it gets ridiculously hot out there in Blythe. Like, I don't even know. I'm gonna look it up right now, live. Well, this isn't really live, but I'm gonna look up the population of Blythe, just so you guys can get a better understanding of what exactly we're talking about here. So, actually, the population is actually a lot. Now I kind of feel stupid. But anyways, it's in Riverside County, out here in Southern California. It says it has like 19,000 population, which is actually a lot. But anyways, Blythe is literally like a desert, essentially. It's like way out there. Like there's not a lot of. I mean, you don't hear too much about Blythe.
No.
And Andrew Cancio is from Blythe. I think he lives in Ventura now, in Ventura County, but he's originally from Blythe. And that event center was packed with his supporters.
That's the busiest I've ever seen it.
It was ridiculous.
They actually installed extra seats.
Yeah, I noticed that. And he had his supporters there every shot. And he actually went down in the first round. He went down in the first round, I think, from a left uppercut from Machado. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then right there and then we were watching. I was like, oh, okay, this is probably going to be a quick night. You know? I mean, and Machado physically looked way bigger.
Yeah, he was bigger on the night, definitely.
He looked way bigger than Cancio. And Machado's like 5'10", 5'9", 5'10", and Cancio's probably like 5'6". So not only did he look bigger in height advantage, he looked bigger in overall size. And he knocked him down in the first round. I was like, okay, like I said, it's going to be a quick night. No, Cancio got up, finished the round. The next couple rounds, Cancio was landing, just rushing him, just pressuring him, pressure. And I even told you, you know, he was, and at every punch he landed, even if he didn't land, the crowd went wild for him. So obviously that was helping his adrenaline and his motivation. And even as that was happening, I was telling you, of course we were right there ringside. I was telling you, I was like, I don't know, Machado, it doesn't seem like those punches are really hurting him. Some of them were hurting him, but it didn't really seem like Machado, like it was like affecting him. I felt like he was doing it on purpose to tire Cancio out.
Yeah, it seemed that way when we were talking about it. It looked like, you know, looking back now, maybe he just had a game face on. You know, he didn't want to show that those punches were getting to him. But going back to before the fight, I remember listening to an interview with Steve Kim when he interviewed Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
And Freddie Roach actually said, and looking back now, you can kind of like read more into it about, you know, he didn't think that Machado was going to spend long at 130. And then now after, you know, the fight and Machado saying he was struggling to make weight and all those usual excuses, you know, maybe that was the reason that Freddie said that. Maybe he knew, like, deep down that this was maybe going to be his last camp or, you know,
right.
maybe one or two more fights. So maybe this was just one fight too far. But, yeah, Cancio went down in the first round, then came out. You could see that his game plan was really just to, you know, try and chop down that tree by going to the body. That's pretty much what he did for all those 4 rounds.
He got that straight right to the body.
Multiple times.
He hit him hard in the body a lot.
Yeah, that was his money shot all night.
Yeah, that was a money shot all night. And I think was that the ending shot or no? No, it wasn't the ending shot, but it was probably the most formidable shot. It was literally just a straight right to the body.
Yeah.
And like it was a hard shot, but it wasn't like devastating.
Yeah, you didn't get those punches kind of like, you know, when you get the left hook to the body and you can hear it. You can hear like the thud as it hits them.
Yeah.
You know, like we were saying, you couldn't really tell that Machado was being hurt by them because, you know, he didn't really ever kind of like grimace or, you know, start dropping his hands to cover the body shots, which should kind of lead you to believe that he was hurt. But he was just going to that all night. And then obviously, you know, he put him down 3 times in the 4th.
Right.
When he went down the 3rd time, the referee just waved it off. And then I put a video on the Twitter, and I think I also put it on the Instagram of, you know, once he went down twice, I was like, he's going to go down again. Quickly grabbed my phone, recorded the crowd. And
oh, yeah.
That place was popping.
That place was ridiculous. When he stopped him and the referee waved it, man, that place went nuts. All of that Coachella Valley. And you know, for the people who you know, recognize that name, Coachella, this is the same area where that annual music festival, Coachella, happens every year. Literally, it's like a couple miles away. So it's that same area. So that's where the fights are held. There's a casino right there, not too far away. So, but like you said, all those Coachella Valley people went insane for that win.
And just to kind of explain,
especially being such a big underdog, it was insane.
Just to explain to our fans in the UK who listen, like Cancio he's not even a full-time fighter.
No, he has a full-time job during the week.
Yeah,
he works at a gas company out here in Southern California.
He works at a gas company, like digging the lines for the gas. So, you know, he's got a physical job.
Yeah, he's like a blue-collar worker.
And then after doing a 40-hour week, he drives all the way to Ventura. He trains, spars, has to have certain people cover his shifts.
Yeah.
Like, he was supposed to be on call actually the week of the fight.
Yeah.
So you had to have all the people at work cover him so he can make the fight. You know, he fought on Saturday night. He had Sunday off. He had Monday off. And then he was going back to work on Tuesday.
Yeah, he goes back tomorrow.
After just winning the WBA World Championship.
And you know, the crazy thing is that a couple years ago he fought in a fighter who fought earlier in the card on Saturday, which we'll touch on, of course, was Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr., who actually beat Cancio a couple years ago. And Cancio actually retired after that fight because he was just so devastated. Remember that?
Yeah, that was on the undercard of Smith Canelo in Texas.
Yeah.
Jojo Diaz actually knocked him out.
Yeah, he stopped him. And after that, he was just kind of, he was out of it. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I think he mentioned that his kids convinced him to go back in the ring. So he gave it another shot. And look at where it took him. He's a world champion now. He's a world champion. I mean, honestly, realistically, a couple years ago, especially after like a JoJo beats him, who many people probably thought he would get a world title before anybody like Cancio. And not to take anything away from Cancio, but he did it. He did it. He got the world title.
Exactly, before Jojo Diaz, which is, had a really glittering amateur career.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if looking on paper, if you'd have picked one of those 3 years ago, is in 2016, the fight you were just talking about. So 3 years' time, if you had to put your money on, hey, who's going to pick up a world title, Jojo Diaz or Cancio? I mean, everybody would obviously have picked Jojo Diaz. So,
I mean, yeah, in a sense, you realistically, and man, what a story, man.
It's a real-life Rocky story.
It is. And, we were able to talk to Cancio after the fight. There was a couple of us who talked to him and of the media who talked to him, where he mentioned, how he came in there and he was even talking about it a couple of times. Our people were tagging him throughout the last couple of weeks in like Instagram and all that stuff, like tagging him, oh, Machado's going to clean this kid out. Like, and I mean, realistically, like, it's on paper, it seemed like it should, that should have happened. And he said, he was like, I didn't appreciate that, but whatever it is, what it is. I went in there and I showed you guys what I'm about. And, like I said, we talked to him after the fight, and then he actually revealed, because like I said, the city of Blythe is it's very hot over there, and it's very like, would you say isolated in a sense?
Definitely isolated. It's got a jail there, which is probably the major thing in
Blythe.
Yeah,
that's probably the major employment.
Yeah.
But, so naturally people were asking him about how he feels about the fight and stuff. But I asked him one thing that everybody wanted to know, and that was if he's planning on running for office, for the mayorship of the city of Blythe in California. And this is what he said.
I'm not recognized, but after tonight, I think people are going to know, hey, this is Andrew Cancio, he's for real. Like, yeah, I got 4 blemishes on my record. There was a couple ones that I didn't think were losses, And here I am. Like, now I don't want it to go to the judge's scorecard. Like, tonight was perfect. We didn't have to wait for the 12th round and then have that. I already knew after the referee stopped it. Like, I'm a fucking world champion. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a world champion, So,
you are definitely going to be the most popular man in Blythe tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Are you going to run for mayor?
No. No.
Hey, people are asking.
No, man. I'm just going to continue training hard. I want to just give the fight fans good fights and defend my title and, unify whatever. I want the money. I want the big fights. I want a bigger stadium. I want people to remember my name. This is fun. Even though all the jitters and everything.
So he's in a tough division, 130 pounds. And yes, he's got a world title, but he is in a tough division. And I was the one who actually asked him that question about the mayorship. I was kind of hoping he would say yes. And I told him, people were all laughing, but I was like, people are asking. This is serious. Cancio 2020. It could happen. It could. He said no right there, but I'm sure he thought about it when he went home. He's like, you know what? I think I can do it.
You got to strike whilst the iron's hot,
Yeah, capitalize on the popularity. You never know. You never know. But yeah, congratulations to Andrew Cancio. Like I said, obviously anything can happen. We still have about 10, 11 months in the year. But that, as of right now, if I'm going to go with anything for upset of the year as early as this, I put all my money on that.
Yeah, it's a real-life Rocky story that he wasn't even a full-time fighter, so unless something amazing happens this year and we have an unbelievable 2019, that's a one-in-a-lifetime type of story. So I'm going to follow you, Danny Z. You're the one that called it, so if you've got your money on that, then I'm going to have to follow you.
I picked Cancio last week, and you picked Machado. And I was like, you know what? I'm going with my gut. I'm going Cancio. And I did it. Like I said, I shouldn't even be here because I should have, hypothetically speaking, put a ton of money on there. There was one guy I saw on Twitter who, as soon as Cancio won, he tweeted saying that he just bought Cancio just bought his kids like diapers for like the rest of the year or something because like he put money on it. And I was like, man, that's insane. Like, because there's just people out there who they'll bet on underdogs because they know they'll win big. They're like, oh, I'll take the loss. So, I mean, if you would have bet, I think I saw if you would have bet like $100, you would have won 1,000. And it's like, come on, I shouldn't be here, Mike. You should be running the show alone.
Well, thank you for turning up, Danny Z.
I guess next time I won't make that mistake. I'm gonna hit it big and I'm out. But like I said, congratulations to Andrew El Chango Cancio, the new WBA super featherweight regular champion. Gervonta Davis is a super champion,
the super duper champion,
a super duper champion. But they're both recognized world champions. So, congratulations to both of them. And Machado, I think Machado has to move up. He told one of our colleagues, Albert Baker of Under the Hand Wraps, shout out to underthehandwraps.com, that Freddie Roach said that Machado had trouble making the weight. So it was probably, with the body shots and stuff like that, it looked like it was like, I think it was a bad weight cut. So he's not going to be at 130 after this. He's going up to 135.
Because it was a voluntary
defense.
Defense, that's the word I was looking for. So, he could have had the rematch.
Yeah.
So maybe we won't see it then if he's going to move up to 135.
He could probably get the rematch, but I don't know. He and Freddie Roach says he had trouble making the weight. It just seems kind of dangerous now. So, now we're getting into health territory.
Wasn't a good weekend for Freddie.
It wasn't. We're getting to that. And also going quickly on the DAZN card, another world championship fight. Ray Vargas improves to 33-0 with his unanimous decision win over Franklin Manzanilla. Vargas retains his WBC super bantamweight title. And Vargas actually went down in round two. By Manzanilla, which was actually a big moment. I honestly, that was probably the highlight of the whole fight, because after that, it was like Manzanilla was trying to get in, and the referee would kind of push him apart, and then Vargas was keeping away with his reach, and after that, it was like, And
then when Manzanilla did get in, the referee ended up docking him points twice.
Yeah, so it was, after a while, Manzanilla, it was just hard for him to win. I was like, he can't even. That's how he was able to do his damage, trying to get in, but
yeah.
It just wasn't working out. So Ray Vargas at 5'10" and a half, making 122 pounds, I'm still amazed. I don't get it, but he's able to do it.
He's 33-0.
Yeah.
He's been the WBC champion for quite some time now, but the only problem is his style is just not very fan-friendly. Yeah. That's all. It's boring to watch.
So, and he's a big guy too, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm still amazed on how a 5'10" and a half guy makes 122 pounds. So, we'll see. At 33-0, obviously, he has talent. So he's doing his thing. Congratulations to Ray Vargas for retaining his WBC super bantamweight title. And then the first television belt, I think, of the card, Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr. improves to 28-1 with the unanimous decision win over Charles Huerta, who gets his sixth loss of his career. Diaz gets all three scores by 99-91. Diaz looked good. He's never really been a type of a knockout guy, but it's like he has I like his technique. Mm-hmm. He looked good. This is the first time he had Joel Diaz in his corner. Joel Diaz wasn't the lead trainer, but he was the assistant trainer to his dad, to Joseph Diaz's dad. I liked it. I like Jojo Diaz. And first thing I thought of, especially when Cancio won, I was like, man, that Jojo Diaz is probably like, hey, let me fight Cancio again. But this time for the title.
Golden Boy v. Golden Boy.
You never know. I could see it. Realistically, a couple years ago, we would have picked Jojo to get the world title before anybody like Cancio.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jojo Diaz. I think that if he actually had some power, the guy would be a world beater.
Oh, yeah.
Like you kind of touched on, he boxes really effectively. He's a southpaw. He puts his combinations together really, really well. He always comes in looking fit. This is his first fight up at 130 to test out that new weight division. Even when he fought Gary Russell Jr., he had a good game plan. He was going in there trying to work the body, trying to slow Gary Russell down.
Yeah.
But like you touched on, he just seems to lack any power. If the guy had power, he'd be up there. He would be a world champion.
He does have some pop, but it's not like
concussive.
Yeah, it's not. But I think it's just enough to work with in a sense. So
just it kind of like he hits them and kind of pushes them back a little bit, but not too much to, knock them out or to scare them off, coming forward. Yeah. No, Charles Herter was there all night to be hit.
Yeah, and he got hit. He got hit. But
he, Jojo just couldn't get him out of there.
But Charles Huerta's never been down either. I don't think he's ever been knocked out. So, it was already a tough competitor, like Floyd Mayweather says, a tough competitor going into the fight. So, but yeah, Joseph Diaz improves to 28-1. So obviously he's probably going to try to get a bigger name at 130 pounds at his first fight. So we'll see. I like Joseph Diaz. I hope he gets some good fights. I like watching him. He's a good fighter. So congratulations, Joseph Diaz. And then moving on to yesterday. Actually, well, when people listen to this, it could be tomorrow. But this past Sunday, at the Save Mart Arena in Fresno, California, farmer country up north up here in California, Jose Carlos Ramirez gets the majority decision win. It was a tough fight against Jose Chon Zepeda. Ramirez retains his WBC super lightweight title by scores of 116, 112, 115, 113, and 114, 114. I actually had Zepeda up 115, 113.
I did as well.
I had Zepeda up at the end.
Yeah.
But I understand all these scores.
Some home cooking.
Maybe.
I think robbery is too strong a word.
No, that's way too.
It's too strong a word.
We're not even touching that.
I heard some people on Twitter saying, they didn't like the fact that, when you fight in somebody's backyard, you kind of have to steal it from them.
Yeah.
Some people were obviously kind of, a little bit pissed off because of that. But it was a close fight. But personally, I had him winning by one round, same as you.
Yeah. I had Zepeda 115, 113. But it was a close fight. Mm-hmm. They both had their moments. And I think what sealed it, at least for the judges, was the 12th round for Ramirez. Because he won that round.
I think he knew it was closer than the last 15 to 20 seconds.
I think in the corner, Freddie Roach was telling him too. He's like, give me one more round. Like, this is it. Like, so, but I liked it. I think it was entertaining. It was competitive. But like we said, we talked about even on Saturday, and then we were texting during this fight. Zepeda had to have known, like, okay, if this goes to decision and it's even remotely close, it's probably going to go to Ramirez. I mean, in Fresno, he's been selling well up there. It was like 14,000 people in Fresno showing up. That he's selling well up there. He's drawing crowds. So, that's what happened. But like you said, we're not calling it a robbery. I understand it going to Ramirez.
It's petty theft.
Yeah, petty theft.
Instead of a robbery, we'll just call it petty theft.
Petty theft. I would even include the word theft. I understand because I could see how Ramirez got it.
I mean, Zepeda started really well. I liked the way that he was elusive. He had that kind of, see how he was crouching down the whole time.
And this was Freddie Roach against Robert Garcia, too.
Exactly. So we kind of touched on Freddie had a bad weekend.
Yeah. 2 losses.
I thought he probably stole the first 4 rounds. Zepeda. He came out. His footwork was really good. He started really quick. I think he knew he needed to put rounds in the bank.
Yeah.
Because he'd have probably started 2 rounds down.
Yeah.
Going up to Fresno, he was probably 2 rounds down, and he silenced the crowd.
Yeah.
He silenced that crowd.
Yeah, they were like, oh, man, like they were recognizing like our guy's losing.
Exactly. So to me, I was kind of thinking, I was like, he might get this because the crowd was quiet, which I thought, maybe, sometimes affects the referees. And then if the referees kind of sit there, he's thinking like, hey, like the crowd's silent, so Zepeda must be winning this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They shouldn't take that into account, but I'm sure they do. Subconsciously.
And I think it was interesting because obviously, like you mentioned, Freddie Roach was 0-2 this weekend with his fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But Zepeda obviously was trained under the tutelage of Freddie Roach, who used to train Jose Ramirez.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Jose Ramirez obviously with Robert Garcia now. So I think Zepeda, in terms of a trainer, to know his opponent, had the best person in his corner because, Roach trained the guy for a couple, I don't know, I forgot how many fights, but it was obviously he trained him enough to know what type of fighter he is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like Zepeda. I think he's going to be back. He's going to be back and still get some great fights because I think he even though he lost, he lost on the scorecards.
Mm-hmm.
Not on my card, not on your card, but I think he's still going to be able to come back and I wouldn't even be surprised if he gets a world title at one point or another. I think he will. I like the guy. I was impressed.
Third time lucky. I was impressed. I thought he should have won that. That's he's fought Terry Flanagan the first time.
Yeah.
His second, obviously, against Ramirez. So
I like it.
Third time lucky for him. He's a local fighter, so
Yeah.
It'd be good to see him, eventually get one because that was a good performance from him.
Yeah, I like it. So Ramirez, and then Ramirez in his post-fight talks about that he obviously wants to unify at 140, which could happen. Or he wants to move up to 147. I think that's a bad move.
He'll get smoked at 147.
He's going to get smoked at 147. Yeah. And I like Ramirez. I'm not, people get mad like, oh, you guys shouldn't criticize these fighters. That's what we're in the game for. Constructive criticism. Like we're saying, like you said, 147 is a different animal.
Yeah.
And
for paydays later in his career, he's still fairly young.
Yeah.
Clean out 140 and then move up. I think if he moves up now, before really clearing out the 140 where he's doing well,
right?
He's not knocking people out for fun at 140. So if he moves up to 147, I think it's going to be a step too far. It's a different beast.
Right.
147.
It's like with Broner. Broner at 140 was ridiculously good. He was doing well.
Yeah.
And then he got up to 147, and it just wasn't there anymore.
No, he went there for paydays and because he's not disciplined.
Yeah.
If we're honest, that's why Broner's at 147.
So I mean, I'm not saying that Ramirez, we're not saying he's not disciplined or anything, but 147 is a different animal. And like you said, I'd like to see him put a little bit more work in at 140 and see if it could, maybe unify and then, get a little bit more fights under his belt. Maybe two more, and at least one of those being a unification matchup. But
Top Rank, they're going to cream Fresno.
Oh, yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. They're getting 14 to 15,000 people at that arena. You don't think they're going to milk that?
They're not putting him in against anybody.
He's drawing. He's a drawing power there. Yeah. He's a drawing power. So, hey, more power to them. Congratulations on his win. I'd be surprised if he moves it to 147, but you never know. Because you also got to think about it. Who's the other top-ranked fighter at 147 right now?
TC.
Terrence Bud Crawford. So, does that mean they're going to put them together? In-house top rank? I don't know.
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Just a straight no. And then moving on that card, which was on ESPN. So we had a Showtime card on Saturday, a DAZN card on Saturday, and an ESPN card on Sunday. Raimundo Beltran. He's always in entertaining fights, by the way. He's always in entertaining fights. Gets the 9th round knockout of Hiroki Okada. Okada was down in round 1 and twice in round 9, which obviously was a conclusion to the bout. Beltran, I know he had a world title last year, and then, he lost it to Pedraza or whatever. But Beltran always seems to be in some crazy fights.
Yeah, you have to give him that. He's always in, fan-friendly fights. You could see that he's kind of looking a little bit tired. You can see that, the stuff there, there's openings there that a few years ago, when he was a little bit quicker, that he would be able to get hold of and capitalize of. Then also in his defense, it's the same sort of thing where, he's taken a few shots that a couple of years ago he would have been able to get out of the way. But it was a good fight. They picked well. It made him look good, obviously dropping the guy a few times before finishing him off pretty nicely, the little combination to finish him off in the 9th. And Top Rank have a few people in and around the weight division for Beltran to face. So I can still see there's a few more paydays for him. They had that story for a while with Beltran where, he had to keep winning and, get a world title.
for his citizenship or to stay in the country. I mean, that was a pretty heartwarming story. And then even when I was watching the fight and I saw him win, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, hey, did he ever, figure that situation out? I don't know. I don't know if they mentioned it on the broadcast, but
I think when he won his world title, they said that, that because obviously
I remember
I'm from England, so I know how the visa works. And
you're taking advantage of our United States laws over here. Yeah.
So, if you're an outstanding person in your category of sports or, music or something like that, then you'd be able to become eligible for a visa. So I'm sure that he had no problems picking up his green card due to that.
No problems.
But, afterwards they asked him and he said he's looking for the biggest fights at either 140 or 135.
Yeah.
So as you just touched
135, Teofimo Lopez.
Or Ramirez at 140.
Or Ramirez at 140.
Top rank.
I think they put him with Teofimo Lopez because he's a name, and Teofimo Lopez, they know he can beat him because he's older.
And
I see that easily.
Yeah.
Against Ramirez, I wouldn't want to see against Ramirez because Ramirez is already seemingly proven and he has a world title.
Yeah.
For Ramirez, it wouldn't really do anything.
Exactly. Whereas
for Lopez, it would help a lot.
Yeah, because to me, I think Teofimo is going to end up an all-star. He's going to end up a really big name in boxing, whereas I think Ramirez is probably at his peak.
Could
I
be.
don't see him getting much bigger, whereas Teofimo...
Ramirez is a big star in Fresno.
Yeah, whereas Teofimo, I think, will be a world star.
I could see it. Yeah. But like you said, yeah, Ray Beltran gets the W, and hopefully he's got his immigration stuff sorted out. I mean, like you said, you know a lot about that and stuff like that. Your favorite movie's Coming to America, Eddie Murphy.
Ray, if you need any help, just give me a call. I'll help you out.
Yeah. Coming to America by Mike. Moving on that card on ESPN, Saul Neno Rodriguez, who actually he's with Robert Garcia, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right? Stops, what is it? Alio Mesquita. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. But yeah, Rodriguez gets the KO victory in the 5th round. And then also on that card, Andy Vences improves to 22-0-1 with a 8-round unanimous decision over Darden. Man, these names are just getting me every single time.
You should know him. He's part of Fantasy Springs.
Yeah, I remember his name. I remember Darden, but Zenuj. Damn, somebody's gonna be mad at me because
that sounds right.
But Andy Vences gets a unanimous decision. Rodriguez gets the KO victory in the 5th round. So congratulations to them. And then, I mean, do you have anything to input on that?
No, we better fly through. We've got a few to go.
We got a few to go still. It's a heavy weekend. Fight previews. This Friday the 15th from the Grand Casino in Hinckley. Is that how you said it? Hinckley, Minnesota on ESPN and ESPN Plus. So another doubleheader. They're going to tease you with ESPN and then say, oh, switch to the app. Rob Brandt, who they mentioned as a Triple G opponent sometime last year, remember? Goes up defends actually his WBA world middleweight title because he's got the middleweight title, right? WBA?
Yeah, he beat, was it Murata?
Yeah, which was shocking to everybody because everybody was choosing Murata. So Brandt puts up his title against Kasin Bice. Damn it. They got me again. These names are killing me, man. I should have studied. I should have been trilingual. I should have studied another language in school or something. I'm just going to call him Kasin. I don't know. Is he European? Is he Russian or something?
Yeah, he's Eastern European.
Eastern European. So that should be a pretty fun fight. I'm sure after the fight, whoever wins, they're going to talk about, let's talk about Canelo. Let's talk about Triple G, Danny Jacobs. They're there. That's middleweight in addition to 147 is also a pretty stacked division in terms of talent, paydays.
Yeah, this is his first defense for Rob Brandt, and he's going to his hometown. He's going back to his old stomping grounds. So he's fighting I don't really know too much about Kassan, but he's an unbeaten.
I wonder how it's going to do on ratings. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be people tuning in let's watch boxing because it's on ESPN.
But they haven't really promoted it too much.
Yeah, not. I mean, I think they kind of know maybe there's ratings. I mean, neither name is known essentially.
To the
only
casual
the hard
fan. Yeah,
not even I bet you there's even some hardcore boxing fans who don't even know.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it is a middleweight title for the WBA World Middleweight title. So, let's see what happens. I'm sure most people are going to look forward to see who they call out after Canelo, Triple G, Danny Jacobs. We'll see. But that's this Friday in Hinckley, Minnesota on ESPN and ESPN Plus. So for all you people on the ESPN Plus app, you got a world middleweight title fight this Friday. Excuse me. And then this Saturday from our backyard, Los Angeles on Fox from the Microsoft Theater in downtown LA. Leo Santa Cruz returns to the ring against Rafael Rivera for the WBA Super Featherweight title. So Santa Cruz comes back. He's obviously the favorite against Rivera. But can we take Rivera for granted? I mean, Machado was a heavy favorite, and look at what happened there.
Yeah, going by previous results over this year, since the start of this year, Cano, Linares, Cancio, and Machado. If I was Leo Santa Cruz, I'd tell him, to make sure to prepare for a hard fight. It seems to be that's the way the 2019 seems to be starting. Some surprising results. But this should be a win for Leo Santa Cruz before some bigger fights towards the end of the year. I'd love to see him in there, with like an Oscar Valdez, get the third fight with Carl Frampton. You know, they've got one apiece. Even, you know, going in there, Josh Warrington maybe. Somebody like that would be someone down the line. Actually, Gary Russell Jr. would be a good one to unify.
Hopefully. I mean, that's a name they were talking about. Honestly, like, I would expect that next, the Gary Russell Jr. and a Leo Santa Cruz unification matchup. Because, I mean, like, Santa Cruz has talked about, you know, fighting. He's talked about at one point fighting Frampton again, but Frampton obviously lost. Warrington got the win. So I can see Santa Cruz fighting Warrington. I mean, throw Jojo Diaz in there too. You know, like, even Jojo Diaz fighting Santa Cruz or something. Like, come on, man, give me some fights like that.
You know, Gary Russell Jr. and Leo fought in the amateurs. Gary Russell Jr. came out as a winner.
The winner.
In the amateurs. So, you know, Leo kind of spoke in an interview earlier this week and said that he'd like to get redemption.
There you go. There's a story right there.
There you go. Hopefully sometime this year, that would be a good fight. Definitely one I think everybody would want to see, to unify a few titles in that weight category. Yeah.
So we'll see how that fight turns out for the WBA Super Featherweight World title. And then co-main event of that night, friend of the show, John Molina Jr., who was supposed to fight Victor Ortiz several months ago. Obviously, it didn't pan out. Going up against Omar Figueroa Jr., 27-0-1. That's a good scrap.
It's going to be a war.
I like it. It's
definitely going to be a war.
If it goes to decision, I'm going to be surprised. I'm going to be extremely surprised if this goes to the cards.
Oh, this won't go to the cards. Omar Figueroa said in an interview that he said that John Molina Jr. is not going to go past the fourth round with him. Both of them like to defend with their face.
Yep.
So
they lead with their face.
There you go. So I think John Molina Jr. to me, I think will win. I think, you know, seeing him recently and speaking to him when he was in the thing, he seems to be still hungry.
Yeah, he still got it.
Omar Figueroa always seems to have, what would you call it? Troubles outside of the ring.
Yeah.
You know, drinking, getting DUIs. That was why
that's why he's had one fight since July 2017 when he defeated Robert Guerrero.
Yeah, because he was supposed to fight Eddie Broner last year around Easter time. Broner got in some domestic violence issues.
And imagine if he would have fought Broner and actually won. Like, where would he be today?
Yeah, that probably would have been his biggest payday as well. You know, fight someone like Broner.
It's like, man, like, that sucks. But, you know, that's going to be a good fight. I like that co-main event. I'm going Molina too. I'm probably a little biased because he's a friend of the show. So I'll throw it out there. I might be a little biased for Molina for this one.
You know, anybody who's, you know, thinking about watching fights this weekend, that's definitely the one I think that if you were going to miss, definitely don't miss this fight.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's this Saturday out here in downtown LA on Fox. So it's on Fox. It's not Showtime, premium cable, nothing. It's on Fox. So you can check it out. So they should probably do some decent numbers. And then news and notes of the show. Oh, we're back. We get another Christmas in April. Oh, yeah. Gervonta Davis' next fight. Actually, it's not a fight. It's an exhibition against Tenshin Nasukawa, the young man that Floyd Mayweather just beat. Because Floyd Mayweather did tell the media after the fight, and he seemed extremely serious. Gervonta Davis is going to fight Tenshin in April in an exhibition. What do you think he was? I think he was playing around. I think he was playing around just to throw it out there because he does that. I don't think that's real.
I think he's playing around, but you never know. If Floyd had told them, like, hey, I can get you another fight, I can get you a name in boxing, you give me a little slice of the pie. You know, if Floyd is able to cream some money out of Rising for himself, I'm sure he would do. But, you know, he announced that was going to be in April, and then, you know, Gervonta would be back in May to actually have a real boxing match. So he's definitely somebody, he's a name, he's a rising star, and he needs to be out like at least 3 times this year. Mayweather Promotions have kind of messed him around, and he's hardly fought over the last few years. So just for his career, for the sake of his career, he really needs to be out. I'd say 3 times this year.
3 times? You think so?
Yeah, he's fought once, get him out again in May, and then in a bigger fight towards the end of the year. He's still young, even though he's had, 22, 23 fights.
Yeah. I think he can go like 3-4 times, yeah.
I think he should. He
needs to do like a Munguia thing.
Yeah.
Like just 5 times, whatever.
I think he needs to as well because of his weight. Because when he doesn't fight, he balloons up.
Yeah.
So if he's fighting constantly, he's constantly in and out of camp. You know, hopefully he keeps his weight down because he's too small to go up to the bigger divisions.
Oh, right.
He's like has a
Absolutely.
Broner problem. Broner's like up at 147 because he's disciplined. But he gets the money fights because he brings in numbers.
Yeah.
Gervonta Davis where Gervonta is kind of quiet. He doesn't have that Broner personality, but he's a good fighter.
He has a style.
Yeah.
He has a crowd-pleasing style. And then you talk about segueing from ballooning up, how Gervonta balloons up after his fights when he doesn't have fight scheduled and stuff like that. Talking about ballooning up, Marcos Maidana. The news of the year, I think. Like I said, Cancio with the upset of the year in February of 2019. And the news of the year, Marcos Maidana comes back after a 5-year retirement, signs with PBC reportedly for a 2-fight deal. And they're mentioning that he's a possible opponent for either Pacquiao or Broner.
Mm-hmm.
Maidana coming back. Because he, after the second Floyd fight, I mean, he got back-to-back Floyd fights. So he hit it big because he lives in Argentina, and the dollar is obviously stronger than Argentina's currency. So he was like a billionaire over there with 2 back-to-back fights against Floyd Mayweather. He's coming back.
He was living the life. He looked like Scarface in those Instagram videos. He had the Hawaiian shirts on, the big Cuban cigars. He was just sat there eating and drinking, and everyone's saying, lately that little phrase, living my best life. That was Maidana. If anyone was doing retirement right, that guy was doing it right.
He's coming. I'm still surprised that he's coming back.
He needs to speak to Ben Davidson and get on that Tyson Fury diet.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's 35 years old. Mm-hmm. He's 35 years old now. He retired in 2014. Yeah, that was the last Floyd Mayweather fight, the second one. So, let's just see if it works out. I'm sure he's motivated because he's going to get a lot of money in these fights, reportedly, by multi-million dollars. And it's reportedly a 2-fight deal with PBC. So, let's see. Let's see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Is he going to fight at 147? Is he going to fight at 154? Because he's probably like 200 pounds right now.
Is that 147 kilograms? Or?
You know what? I think it might be. I think he in the contract he probably put kg instead of LBS
because he's not making 147 pounds.
So I don't know. I mean, he could. Tyson Fury did it. Obviously, it could happen. It's possible, but that I don't know. I hope he's still got some of what he had left in the tank at that point. Because if he doesn't, he comes back, especially in his first fight, which will probably be a tune-up fight,
mm-hmm.
and people are gonna be like, this is kind of sad to see. But reportedly he's also gonna still train with Robert Garcia out here in Southern California. So, we'll see. But that's intriguing. I'm surprised about that because I thought he was done.
Another one that I forgot to put on the news and notes was Gamboa supposedly signed with 2-fight deal with PBC.
I saw that. They want to put him up against who did they mention as possible opponents? I saw some names out there. I saw some names where it was kind of like
because it was a 2-fight deal. The first fight was, I think it was 500,000, and then if he won the first fight, the second fight would be for 750,000,
something like that.
But they're doing the same thing as usual. They're stacking those divisions around that area. So
he's also still a name in a sense. So I get it.
He's another one though who's never in a boring fight. He either gets knocked out, superbly in clinical fashion,
like
or he's knocking people out.
When he fought Crawford, he actually hurt Crawford.
Yeah, he's got power.
So he actually hurt Crawford. I mean, Crawford ended up stopping him, but because Crawford was just way too big.
Yeah,
he's way bigger than him. But he actually hurt Crawford. So, that just shows you, he's he at one point or another, a couple of years ago, Gamboa was one of the best talents in the world.
He was like the Gervonta Davis.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Are they going to feed him to Gervonta Davis or something like that?
I could see that down the line. He's, like we just said, he's always in good fights. So he's somebody you'd want to see on TV. He's not going to go in there and hide. He's going to go in there. He's going to either get knocked out or he's going to knock them out.
Right. So, we'll see.
And they've got all these dates to fill up. PBC, Top Rank, everybody. They have dates, so many dates now because of TV.
Especially like Fox and those guys, like ESPN, they're like, hey, man, you guys got to produce.
Yeah.
You guys got to produce his dates and give us some stuff. So, we'll see how it goes. But, you know who else? Oh, no. Is that this weekend? When does Brandon Rios fight? He's fighting in Mexico.
He's fighting Tijuana?
Yeah. He's fighting in Mexico against, I forgot when. February 23rd, I think. So,
it's 2 weeks.
And it's on DAZN. The first card in DAZN. On DAZN. Excuse me. Now I'm tongue twisted. The first card in Mexico for DAZN. So, we'll see how that turns out for Brandon Bam Bam Rios, who's still going, still kicking. But I think that's February 23rd, so I still think we can talk about it next week for next week's show as a preview. But yeah, a lot of boxing this past weekend. A lot of boxing this weekend. Like that's not stopping. This train is not stopping.
It's been a good start.
There's no last round this year.
No, exactly. I mean, it's been a good year. You know, you've had some good fights. We've had some shocks. We've had some ups. We've had some downs. So hopefully the rest of the year kind of continues as it is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. So, you know, once again, to all of our listeners all over the world, UK, North America, down under in Australia, Jeff Horn's people, the Hornet, everybody getting stung by the Hornet down there. You know, wherever you're listening at, we appreciate it. Apple Podcasts. And Apple Podcasts, I looked at the stats. Apple Podcasts is our mostly used mobile app.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's over 50. Yeah. It's over 50%, 55% or something. So, are you Apple people? You're out there making some noise. So, you know, we appreciate it. Even Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher, you know, all over the place. We have so many. Just as long as you're listening, we appreciate it. We got to get a guest on soon. We're kind of in a dry spell here, so we're working on some people to try to get on the show. We were trying to get Vanes Martirosyan.
Yeah, we were speaking to him today. I was speaking to a few people today. Anthony Sims Jr., John Molina.
So, well, in the next couple of weeks, we should have somebody. You know, we got to get back in that mode to get some guests in, to have our listeners get some different perspectives than listening to us all the time, which you shouldn't be bored yet. But, you know, sometimes you like to spice it up.
No, when you're getting those outstanding picks from Danny Z.
Yeah. So they're outstanding. Remember that. But once again, I'm Danny Z for Michael Shepard. This is the last round.
Thanks for supporting and listening to the show. Follow us at The Last Round 12 on social media. Rate, review, and subscribe. This is the Last Round Podcast.